Hi there, this is your serial cynic. I'm coming to you here from Harlem today, Harlem, New York, and I'm here at the extreme end, northern end of Central Park here in New York City. It's a beautiful day out here today. It's a little chilly. I guess you can say it's the calm before the storm. We have blue skies, white clouds, bright sunshine. So it's rather beautiful out here today. As I often do, I give you a little bit of a picture of the scenery that's behind me. And let me go ahead and turn the camera around so you can go ahead and see what I'm looking at. It's much more beautiful in the summer and springtime when there are actually leaves on the trees, like that weeping willow right over there. And it's usually nice and green. Water tends to be a little clearer. But again, this is known as the Harlem Meer, M-E-R, Meer, which I guess in Dutch, I guess means lake. So the Harlem Lake, so to speak. Okay? Anyway, as I'm sitting here, a guy just passed by here a while ago playing one of my favorite reggae songs. He was playing Love and Affection by the artist known as Pressure Bus Pipe, who happens to be from St. Thomas, United States Virgin Islands, which is where I am from. And speaking of islands, speaking of the Caribbean, I want to bring this up today. And it's going to be a topic that I guess you guys can discuss, and it's going to cause some debate. Friendly, I hope. And it has to do, my topic I guess today would be Jamaica or Guyana. And what am I talking about? Well, I'm giving my personal opinion about which one of those countries I would give the edge to in terms of overall experience. Now, I've been to Jamaica about 20 times over a 15-year period. The last time I was there was in 2007. First time I went there was 1992. Saying I love that country is an understatement. I really enjoyed my time there. And I was not one of those people that went to the island and hung out at resorts and so forth. I spent most of my time in rural Jamaica, in a town known as Christiana, which is up in the parish of Jamaica. I guess you can call that West Central Jamaica. About 3,000 feet above sea level. So it was rather cool, rather nice. Really enjoyed myself when I was down there. Had great experiences, met great friends, made great friends, I should say, and just had an overall great experience. In terms of the island of Jamaica, it is exactly as advertised. It's mystical. The people, for the most part, are great people, regardless of what you may hear in the news sometimes. They are industrious, which I think much of us can testify to that for us who come in contact with Jamaicans. They have that entrepreneurial spirit. They're innovative. They can be aggressive, but that does not necessarily mean it's always a bad thing. It's just they see something, they go after it. They come up with an idea, they work at it. Of course, it could also be on the bad end too. But they're innovative, they're industrious, they're colorful, they're funny, and they're hospitable. And those are that's the Jamaican people. I don't think I have to go and try to tell anyone or ask anyone, have they ever heard of a place called Jamaica? It's a place that I guess you could say most people either have heard about, know about, or have some kind of idea about. Now, I'm not saying everyone in the world can probably find it on a map, even though I think much more people can actually figure out the general area that it's in. Yes, it's the land of Marley. It's the land of Usain Bolt. It's the land of, well, for some people, weed. Jerk chicken, great cooking, foods, reggae music, and so forth. So it is a well-known place in this world, and there's no denying that. They're a smaller island, of course, relatively speaking, in terms of other world nations. But as they say down there, we little, but we talawa, meaning that even though they're small, they carry a lot of clout. So I will say that when I went down there, I really enjoyed myself. I love the landscape, the mountains. They have their fair share of, fairly beautiful beaches. I would not say they're as nice as those in the U.S. Virgin Islands, but they have their fair share of beaches. And in terms of, in comparison to a lot of the other islands of the Caribbean, their land mass is rather large, over 4,000 square miles. And on those 4,000 square miles, there's a population of, 3.5 million people. So, fairly dense in terms of population. So when I went down there, or used to go down there, I used to have a lot of fun. I just used to just get up and just drive all over the place and go enjoy myself. After a while, maybe after 2 trips down there, I used to just be all over the island. Despite what people may think, and you can't go here, you can't go there, this is going to happen. Yeah, there are areas, there are pockets on the island that, if you don't know it too well, or you don't know anyone down there, you don't want to find yourself down there. I mean, nothing may happen to you, but it could be a very intimidating experience. But for the most part, I was out in the country area, as they call it. Places like Mandeville, Montego Bay before it got the little things that's going on down there right now, and the northwestern part of Jamaica, and so forth. So I really had a great experience while I was there. That is Jamaica. Let me see if there's anything else I can think about or say about it. I guess I can just simply say the overall experience is pretty good. Okay? Now, Guyana is a place that I've been going to for the past 4 years, and I've been there a total of 6 times, hopefully and counting. Now, Guyana, and the way I look at Jamaica and Guyana, it's this way. I look at Jamaica as being if I had to look at like a bookshelf, and you look at the placeholders to hold the books in place, I look at Jamaica as being up here, the English-speaking island up here in the Caribbean chain. And I look at Guyana as the other end, holding up. And then all the other Caribbean islands fall within those two, between those two. At least the English-speaking ones. But in Guyana, you're talking about a country that is, 20 times larger than Jamaica. Just let that sink in for a while. Or if you want to put it another way, if you're more familiar with Cuba, it's almost twice the size of Cuba. And Cuba is no small little thing. But unlike Jamaica, and even though you have a lot of Guyanese all around the world basically, just like Jamaicans, here in New York City, you have whole populations of Guyanese. I think they're like the second or third, or maybe even the first, or probably second largest group of Caribbean nationals living here. I think behind perhaps Jamaica and Haiti. Well, of course, you have to also probably include the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. But let's just say we remove the 2 Spanish-speaking nations or places. I guess that's where they would fall into this, okay? So, when I look at Guyana, I see a place that is massive. But, as large as it may be, the country only has a population of about 700,000 people. Remember, Jamaica, 4,000 square miles, 3.5 million people. Guyana, 83,000 square miles, but only about 700,000 people. Or put it this way, less than 1 million people. That means there is a lot of available land, or just land, compared to the population of people that are there. With a land that large, you tend to have a lot of diversity in terms of its landscape. Yeah, Jamaica, you can go there and you can see the mountains and you see their valleys. You have that, mountains, valleys. The mountains, the flatlands. You have that. You have the Blue Mountains in the east. I think you have, I forgot the name of the mountains in the western side. And then, of course, you have the flatlands on both sides sloping down towards the ocean. In Guyana, on the other hand, when you go there and you go to Georgetown, the capital of the country, it is along the flat coastline. And that coastline is actually below sea level. So when you go around, you're not going to see mountains. You're definitely not going to see those type of things when you're in Georgetown, which is where the majority of the population of the country lives. Or the majority of the population of the country lives along the coastline. So no, whether it's Georgetown or all the way out to a place called Berbice or up towards the northwestern coast, you're not going to see mountains and so forth, just flat. Another thing you're going to see, and that might puzzle you, and this is something that you need to be aware of, even though Guyana is considered, culturally speaking, historically speaking, socially speaking, part of the Caribbean, you tend to think of the Caribbean, you tend to think of beaches, you tend to think of blue water. You're not going to go to Guyana and find that. So as you're driving along the coastline, you're going to see miles of ocean, miles of the Atlantic Ocean, about a good 280 miles of it or more. But none of that water is going to be the blue water, the azure blue water that you would see in the U.S. Virgin Islands where I'm from, or even in Jamaica. So if you're going to Guyana looking for a beach experience, and because you hear it's the Caribbean, you're not going to necessarily get that there. That is not what Guyana is known for. So, there are other things in Guyana that I really love and that I really appreciate. And just like Jamaica, my experiences in Guyana have also been great. You go down there, and once you leave that coastline and you start to go further inland, this is when you start to really see the real beauty of Guyana. Now, 80% of Guyana is covered by forests. And you think, a forest? What's going to be so pretty about that? Just looking at bush, just looking at trees. Now, of course, that's not for everyone. But one of the things you'll find down there in Guyana is the diversity of the trees, but also the diversity of the animals. You will see birds with colors and some of the oddest creatures that you can think of that you won't find anywhere else, at least not in the Caribbean chain. You will see colorful birds. There are animals there that you won't find anywhere else in the Caribbean. Then you can go to other areas and you look around. And it's like, am I in Africa? Because you look out and you see a wide open savanna. Looks like something from Africa, like the Serengeti. And then you go another area and you see these high mountains. And I'm not talking about 1,000-foot mountains either. I'm talking about mountains that are almost 10,000 feet high. And some places where some of these mountains are at looks like something from another planet. Doesn't look like it's a part of this world. And still other places you can go to is just like fertile valleys of rice fields. So because of the size of this land, there's so much diversity in the way that it looks. And speaking of diversity, the people are also very diverse. Not saying you can't find that in Jamaica. But when you go to Guyana, you see diversity. Now, some people may think that all Guyanese people are of Indian heritage or they look quote-unquote Indian. No. There's a lot of black people there also. I don't think they make up the majority, but the East Indian population there may have a slim majority over them. But it's almost like right down the middle, so to speak. And so you have this diversity in the way that the people look and what you see down there. But one thing about Guyana that I really love, and this is not something I guess that they will basically publicize or say, but I'm going to say it, but I want to say it in context of something else. Guyana supposedly is considered somewhere within the top 5 or bottom five, however you want to look at it, in terms of poverty on this side of the world. But when you go there, what you see belies what is actually stated. Because you can go to Guyana and you can drive through neighborhood after neighborhood with modern, stately homes, big homes, swimming pools out back and everything. And I'm not saying every Guyanese has this, but you can go and you can find places like this. And you're driving around and you're wondering, where's this poverty they're talking about? People have 3, 4 cars in their driveway. Somehow the people are making it. But I also love the old world charm that you can find in Guyana. Now, maybe some Guyanese may not care for that. And maybe there may be some people who visit Guyana who may not care for that. But you go there and you still feel a sense of the old world, the way that it used to be. And I really, really enjoy that. You go out into the country areas and so forth, you can still sometimes find a rather simple way of living amongst some people. And I love that. Another thing about Guyana, it rains a lot down there. Again, it's pretty much in the Amazon rainforest, or at least a part of it is. And as a result, there's always an abundance of rain that just comes down. Makes for a very fertile country. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not dry areas, but for the most part, you can just go down and just throw any seed on the ground and it starts growing. This is something that I really love about down there. It's very lush, very green. I've gone to places in Guyana where I'm walking and I'm just watching fresh water just bubbling up from the earth. The rains come down so hard that I've taken showers in the rain. I'm not talking about little raindrops. I'm talking about buckets of water coming down out of the sky. And I've actually taken showers in those places. Again, I've seen water coming up out of the earth. Fresh, clean water just coming up out of the earth. So when I look down and I say to myself, which one of these countries would I give the edge to in terms of experience? And again, this is my biased answer. It would be Guyana. Jamaica, beautiful country. I give it thumbs up. But when it comes to Guyana, I just feel like I have a better overall experience there for the way, I guess, I like things, or from my taste. So yes, if you're going to go down there and you're going to go to a place like Guyana and you're thinking you're going to go down there to party on the beach, hang out and drink margaritas and so forth on the beach, that's definitely not going to be the place that you're going to go to. It's not that type of place. Do they have nightlife? Yes. Do they have clubs? Yes, if that's what you want to do. But if you're thinking because Caribbean is attached to it, you're going to go down there and hang out on the beach, kick back, get suntan. Of course, people do go into the water there. They go into the ocean, but Guyana is more of a river community, so to speak, because it has some massive rivers. Rivers that you won't even find in the... So when you talk about rivers in islands like Dominica or even Jamaica, the rivers in Guyana make those things look like toys. But those rivers bring a lot of runoff from the interior. And when I say runoff, I mean the rains that fall, the red bauxite dirt that washes into the water, washes out to the ocean. So it basically gives the Atlantic Ocean a brownish color. So it's not going to look appealing to the eyes if you're accustomed to the clear blue waters in the Caribbean. Doesn't mean the water is dirty, mind you. It's just mineral runoff. Earth, I guess you can say, that runs off into the Atlantic Ocean that comes down to the rivers. So no, you're not going to find the blue waters and so forth you find elsewhere. But there are a lot of other things you can experience in Guyana. There's Kaicha Falls, one of the highest waterfall, single drop waterfalls in the world, if it's not the highest. You can go down these rivers and look left and right and see just animals like you just never thought you would ever see in your life. You see birds. You feel somewhat a closer sense to nature there. And there are resorts along these rivers where you can get away and enjoy somewhat of a resort kind of life. Again, not on a beach, but on a river. So there are things you can do in Guyana. There are things you can really enjoy in Guyana. And again, if you're going to go down there and think you're going to just find a whole population walking around the place begging, looking homeless, looking like they're struggling or whatever, you're not going to really see that. They have a lot of pride there. Are the people making money hand over fist at their jobs? No. And that's, I guess, what they're looking at in terms of when they're gauging what is called poverty or whatever. No, they're not. But somehow they're surviving. And somehow people look like they're doing well enough for themselves. Sure, they could do better. And I'm sure they would like to make more money. But here's another thing about down there. The place is rich in natural resources. Yes, the access to it has been mismanaged along the way. And they've dealt with their share of corruption where certain groups take those resources and make money from it, and it doesn't trickle down to the poorer folks. But that might be changing. Guyana is a place now that they've found oil offshore. Who knows what that's going to translate to if it's managed properly. So there might be some changes coming. But as I said before, Jamaica has its own special vibe to the place. Something that I enjoy there. I can't go wrong going there. Guyana is also a very beautiful place in a different way. Massive country. And it's kind of crazy because there's still people today, when you say Guyana, they think you're talking about Ghana in Africa. No, Guyana is a country in northern South America, right next to Venezuela, a little bit southeast of Trinidad, in the Caribbean. If you get some time, it'll be a place to visit. It's not a place that goes around promoting itself in terms of all the different things that go along with certain things. But still, there are things that you can go there and you can see that will blow your mind that you won't find on some of the Caribbean islands. So again, I would go ahead and say I would give the edge to Guyana. I love both countries, but I'll give the edge to Guyana right now. You may have a different opinion, so you can put that down in the comments and you can subscribe. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Sorry if I bored you with all the long talking and everything like that, but just a topic that came across my mind. I decided I just wanted to go ahead and put it out there. Okay, so you guys take care, and thank you for tuning in to the Serial Cynic. Have yourself a great day.